Hi, I'm Jason and this is the Pattern to Print channel, and today what I wanted to share with you today is something I've been working on for the last couple months, and that's 3D printed woven baskets. Now, my wife's been doing actual woven baskets for about 10 years now, and she's really good at it. And in fact, we have quite a few of these baskets around the house. I kind of did a quick census a few minutes ago, and even without really looking in every nook and cranny, we have 45 baskets in the house that she personally wove herself. So initially, thinking about baskets, I really thought that we didn't really need any more baskets in our house. But being surrounded by them, I kind of started thinking about how cool they look, and also kind of what a challenge it would be to print a basket that looked like it was actually woven instead of just like kind of an outline. Like I did a search on Thingiverse, and this is pretty small. I didn't print it very big, but this is a MakerBot model, and the outside looks really nice. It looks exactly like a basket, but it was like they took a basket and did a scan, because on the inside it's just all smooth. So they didn't do any actual weaving with this basket. They just did the shape of the basket, and that really wasn't what I was going for. Now, I did find one basket that was, I guess you could kind of technically call it woven, and it's a pretty cool little model where the weaves kind of go in and out, but it isn't quite totally there, because it didn't really have when you weave a basket, you kind of have the spokes coming up, and you can sort of see the reed kind of being pulled against these spokes. There's a very distinctive look to it, and I thought maybe I could do a little better. So what it finally dawned on me what I could do to get this look is in Simplify 3D you can do multiple processes. So what I thought was, well, if I take the rods and the spokes and have them as one, do them as one process, and then do the weave part as a second process, they would be printed at different times instead of being one outline. And so, and what you can kind of see, the end result of that is right here. So you can see that you have the spokes coming out and they're printed, and then you have the other weave going around it. So they're kind of printed one at a time instead of printed together. So what I did is I took OpenSCAD and started modeling it up. So the main thing with these first ones, I did them very simple. So I just did a base and then just had spokes coming up, and then have a weave part. And so I just had to basically figure out some math. It's just a lot of geometry. Well, the spokes were easy. You just do a little bit of a rectangle and then just do a loop and put them around in a circle. But then I kind of had to calculate, what part of the where the reed would sort of meet the outside and then meet the inside, and then do a hole to kind of connect them together. And then I just did a really simple rim. So by doing it this way, what I could also do is I could then export just parts of the model into separate STL. So the base is one STL, the rim is one STL, the rods coming up was one STL, and then the weave I actually did it as two STLs, because if you see, they're sort of one is kind of tilted from the other, and they kind of go back and forth. And so what that allowed me to do then later is to do multicolor. So so this was my first one, and this was from Protopasta. It was an off sample, so you can't get exactly this color, but it was sort of when they change from one color to another. Some of the lots don't get exactly right, and so they kind of sell them at a discount. But it looks really nice with kind of the sparkly thing. And so I could see that it did indeed do exactly what I wanted. It did do the weave part like I wanted by doing the separate processes in Simplify 3D. Now my wife kind of took a look at this and she goes, okay, it was woven, but it looks like I wove it with paper and not with actual reed. She thought it was too thin. Now I was kind of concerned because there isn't, when it prints, it really is kind of, there's nothing beneath these read lines. And so I was kind of concerned if I went to kind of too thick instead of one, that it would just kind of droop down. But fortunately, that isn't what happened. The motion to pull it against the reed was tight enough so that it didn't droop down. So then the next one I did the design where I did it thicker, so I did it the too thick. And this is with Protopasta matte filament, which I just finally got to work this week. If you have a all metal hot end, print it real hot, like 230, and it'll work. And so the matte, I really like the matte filament because it. Now this, while this looks really cool, it looks very plastic. It's very. It doesn't really look like you wove it with wood because it's, no wood's going to look like this. But this kind of gives it a more natural look. So then, for Christmas, I got a mosaic palette, and so this type of design is really well matched to do multicolor prints because you already have the different processes set up, and so then you can kind of choose the components and then do them in different colors. So the first one I did with two colors is kind of what I would kind of think of traditional colors, like you have kind of a dark brown and a light brown that could be maybe different shades of stained wood. And so this came out really well. It has a nice contrast, and the palette really worked really well for that. From then I went to three colors. So what I did with this one is that the base and the rim and the spokes were all one color, and then I took two different colors of polyalchemy, and it was the red and the green. And so half the weaves are red, and half of the ones are green. And I have to say, I got the palette at Christmas time. It took me a really long time to kind of get it calibrated, and then once I got it calibrated, I really didn't print much with it. But now that I'm printing with it a lot, I'm really happy with it. While there certainly are some prints that go bad, and you do have to kind of do a lot of configuration with it, once you kind of got it dialed in for the filaments you're using, I found it to be really quite reliable. So that one worked really well. And then finally, I'm sure if you follow things on Twitter, there's been this Wavy Wednesday kind of theme that has been going on for the last couple months. And so I decided to then do another model where, again in OpenSCAD, where I took, just basically made it a bit of a different, made it so the spokes had a bit of a sine wave to it. In fact, that's exactly it. I had programmed an equation in OpenSCAD so that it would put the spokes in different places based on kind of the radius where it was around the circle. So again, this is polyalchemy, and this stuff is printed really well. I think I did print it a little too fast. I have heard that polyalchemy likes it a little slower, and it's a little bit rough. And I bought a sample pack of filament, and the samples I had weren't quite enough. I was bummed. It was almost to the top, and then it ran out of filament. So it still looks pretty cool, but I'm going to reprint this again so it's finished. But it still looks pretty neat as it is. So I'm going to continue to do some of these designs. I think that right now I'm going down the Fusion 360 path. I am taking a class in my makerspace, and I'm working on a design. In fact, right now I have my first basket that I designed in Fusion 360 printing, and hopefully I'll get a picture of it in this video. I just think that there's a lot of, it's just really kind of fun, kind of a puzzle to kind of look at these baskets. Like here, this basket has like obviously a lot different design than these, and there's a lot you can kind of do with it, and it's kind of a lot of fun. So at the bottom of this video, if you open up the comment area, I will have links to some of these basket models. So if you want to print them yourself, you can do so. And if you do, I would love you to hashtag it 3DP woven basket so I can kind of see what people have kind of printed. And again, as always, if you have any questions or comments about this, please, type them in below and I'll respond to them. And, of course, subscribe and ring the bell. Though I think it seems with YouTube these days, if you subscribe, ring the bell, and I release a video 3 weeks after the first full moon after your birthday, you'll get a notification. If not, you won't. So I would also follow me on Twitter, where hopefully at least I'll show up in your in case you missed it feed. So that's all I have for this time. Thanks for stopping by and have fun printing.